All right, we're live. We're live. Oof, gotta get all stretched out. Get your face exercises out of the way. I'll make your face stronger. What's up, YouTubers? Welcome to another edition of the LonelyFans podcast. And don't adjust your sets. This mustachio man is still your host, Carson Daly. And I'm still joined by usual suspects, Albie, and a fun guy. And tonight, we're going to talk about the show starring the man that you can't see. That's right, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the one below
Clay Aiken.
Of all time.
oh, sorry.
What did you say?
I said Clay Aiken. Because if he was invisible, he's probably watching this in a room right now. No, we're talking about the real invisible man. I'm sorry.
That's an inside joke. Some of y'all might not get. But anyways, we're going to start with Peacemaker right there. I don't have Eagly, unfortunately. But before we delve into the show, y'all, let's start with like our expectations heading into it, because I think this show was like announced like right after the Suicide Squad debuted on HBO Max.
And I found out that James Gunn pretty much just wrote this out of boredom during the pandemic.
What?
So, yeah.
All right, James. All right, James.
I was like, I didn't find out until much later after finishing the show, and when I found that out, well, we'll get to my later impressions. I'd say going into it, I'll say this, without knowing that this was like something James Gunn came out with on a whim, I definitely didn't have low expectation because it's James Gunn. Like, I think he's proved that he can do these types of movies like very well, and he's definitely not a hack. So he'll put a lot of effort into it.
Well,
the thing. Okay, yeah. For me personally, I feel like I enjoy most of the movies I've seen, or even if like some movies aren't as great as others, like maybe like Guardians 2, I think is really good, but not as good as the first one. But still, I can't watch Guardians 2 and go, oh, he didn't put any effort into this. He didn't, no craft at all. No, he had a lot of craft. He cared about his characters. He had a lot of effort into the world he was building. So, still a good movie. I knew that we're going to see that in Peacemaker. What I was going into it, though, I was like, what am I going to think about Peacemaker as a character, though? I mean, he was entertaining in the Suicide Squad movie, entertaining, but I didn't necessarily like the character. In fact, when Bloodsport like shoots him right in the throat, I'm like, yeah, take that, yeah, you deserve that. All right, I hate you. Pretty much. And then, of course, you go. I knew they were making a Peacemaker TV show, but I didn't know if it was going to take place before or after. And then the after credit scene, the Suicide Squad. Go, oh, it's going to take place after. Okay, well, this should be entertaining, but I'm not so sure, if I'm going to like Peacemaker as a character. Biggest surprise is I actually, it might take a while, but I actually really like Peacemaker as a character. John Cena did a great performance, but also the show does a good job of you actually feeling for him, feeling sorry for him. You don't justify all the bad things he's done, but you still kind of like have at least, it humanizes him and you kind of have some understanding of his struggle.
Mm-hmm. So, no. That needed to be. That was well said. This show brings you through Peacemaker's journey. As a character, he grows, he changes, and that's what you want. You want a reason for the audience to care, and they give you every reason to care. You can still dislike him if you want, but it expands upon the character very well. James did this when he was bored. If James watches this or someone he knows watches this, please do more stuff when you're bored, because this is amazing. For a adult DC fun romp into the DC Suicide Squad universe, yes, I want more. Any other DC project he works on with permission to do like he wants to do, I want more. Now, let's talk about characters that you didn't care about during Suicide Squad that are in Peacemaker that you wanted to see more of or weren't interested in, but now you are. That's kind of long. You get what I'm saying?
I want to say, Pac-Bo, what was your initial reaction before watching the show? Like, what were you?
Oh, my impression. Oh, so my expectations were. So actually, my expectations for Suicide Squad, John Cena. Off topic, my Wi-Fi bar shows one. You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yeah.
All right. So expectations. The reason why I say this is because I used to be, still am a huge wrestling fan. I never liked John Cena though. Just because you hear the backstage politics he would pull, exactly, can't see. I was never a fan of that guy. I disliked him. I think he destroyed wrestling. But having said that, I saw him in Blockers, and he was hilarious. And I hated to it. I was like, yeah, he's pretty funny. And then I was like, let's see how he actually does in a role of like in a superhero movie. But he actually, in my opinion, God damn it, Mario. Said didn't see that coming. Thanks for telling us, man. Can't wait for
It's
your
also a Marvel reference.
I love them in Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad. Sorry. Apart from him and Bloodsport, like those are my favorite guys in the movie. About the show, I was apprehensive because I'm like, I know James Gunn's he's a great writer. He loves gore. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watched Belko Experiment. That was one of my favorite movies of his. It's pretty twisted and freaky, but basically like Saw, but in the office building, pretty much. You basically have to kill everybody. You're the last one remaining, and you can live. It's pretty intense, very violent. Then I was apprehensive. I was like, I don't know if John Cena can carry his own show. I'm glad I was proven wrong because I had not that I had low expectations. I was still hesitant. I was like, okay, let's see what James Gunn can do in a 8-part series, 8-part show, and what John Cena can do as well. Having said that, they pretty much exceeded my expectations. But if we're talking about the show now, the first 3 episodes were kind of cringe for me, but it slowly developed into a better storyline overall. I don't like that intro, man. I hit skip right away. I watched the intro once.
Oh, really?
I watched it once, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching this ever again.
Oh.
It's a unique intro. It's a unique intro.
Yeah.
I love the
into the mind of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I like the intro. Maybe the song's catchy.
Song's catchy.
The choreography is just, it's a goofy choreography to it. Maybe I'm just still impressed that you just watch everyone. This must have taken so many takes. Maybe someone correct me if I'm wrong. Just everyone doing it with such a straight face.
Yes, they did.
And I'm like, all right, I'll take it. And maybe it's supposed to just be kind of in vibe with the type of music he's into and stuff.
It is, and his delusions. Everybody's doing what he wants to do in his video, his delusions of reality. I'm reading into it. Comment geek.
Reading into it.
You know, in hindsight, when you guys are talking about it, I think the reason why I thought bad taste originally is because I've never seen like the other characters. So here's like Robert Patrick thrusting his shoulder and stuff. Like, I don't know what the hell he's doing. Him having like a joke position. Yeah. But
also, it is probably weird to see that intro because like most of those characters maybe half those characters haven't been introduced yet. So it's like, who are all these people? I think the only one time I was hesitant to watch the intro, there's I think it was episode 7 where it does a flashback and you see Peacemaker and his brother when they're kids, and you find out he kills him in a brawl, like in a playful brawl, but he kills him. And then they do do you really want to taste it? Right after that, I was like, that's kind of a weird, okay. I didn't skip it the first time I watched it because it's like, oh, well, we're in it. But the second time I watched it, this is probably the one time I skipped this intro because it's a weird segue. You
let it play out for 7 episodes, dude. The whole thing.
Yes. The all episodes. I skip a lot of intros in my day, but Peacemaker, I pretty much Like most anime openings, I pretty much don't skip intro. That's my
I didn't skip Super Crooks. We'll get to that later.
We'll get that. But yeah. On topic of talking about, oh, sorry.
No, I was like, well, to your point, like you guys mentioned earlier, like I think the series did a lot to have you have some sort of sympathy or empathy for Peacemaker, because when they showed what happened in the Suicide Squad when he killed Rick Flag, I'm like, fuck this guy. I don't feel bad for him. And then you start to see it develop, like the character development throughout the series. And I'm like, yeah, I feel bad.
Like,
he felt bad for killing Rick Flag.
Yeah, like when he
even while doing it, he's like, "Why did I
kill Rick Flag? Everyone hates you."
Yeah.
You see his face when he killed him. He was already regretting, why does he have to do this for peace?
But I can agree that maybe the first three. What the?
I didn't see his face. Yeah.
For peace.
Did you see him? No, you don't. But I can agree in the first three episodes. He was super cringy, and it probably does take a while to really like feel for I probably didn't start to really like feel for him until maybe episode 6, really, which is actually one of my favorite episodes on there when he's like talking to the kids.
Oh yeah.
That was classic.
Like, there was that one girl like, "Have you met the Flash?" I'm like, "Yes," and like everyone else, I thought he was a major D-bag. And then there was that one Asian kid like, "Yes, Rubik's Cube champion 2025."
Rubik's Cube champion 2025.
Why is your pet's name so like generic? And he goes like, "Why are you my least favorite kid in this class?"
That was so good.
And even the kid goes like, "Maybe you don't like me because I see right through you and you're a loser."
That was perfect.
But that classroom scene was like one of my favorite.
Probably the best episode.
Yeah.
One of the best. Like, it's
definitely penultimate, I would feel like.
Doesn't need any action to be good. Doesn't need any. The kids acting was great.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the best.
And then the sequence of all the butterflies taking over that police station in prison with that song "Monster," which I never heard before. That's the first time I heard it, and I just like was really rocking to it. Even though you see all these people die and get butterflies in their mouth.
That's one of the. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's that awkward thing where they're all trying to awkwardly smile and stuff. That's like classic, instant classic.
So another part of the Butterflies episode, I was watching, I go, this is one of the best TV reasons to reuse actors that are switching roles. You get what I'm saying? How TV, whether it's supernatural, sci-fi, or some combination therein, reuses actors to do something supernatural, the regular people, no makeup. You get what I'm saying? The Butterflies is a really good reason to do that. How these same characters are now protagonists or antagonists or now superhuman. The Butterflies one of the best reasons I saw to do that.
Especially Detective Song, the actress that played her. I gotta find out who she is, but she was like
she did
excellent.
Great.
She had one of the best lines before she became a butterfly when when Robert Patrick was like taunting her with like, you know,
names,
racial slurs,
racist Asian lingo,
stereotypes.
Your Google translate's a bit off. You said my hair looks like a donkey shat on my head.
Your Google Translate.
When she started listing off famous white celebrities, she's like,
she's like, I ran out.
Blake Shelton.
She said Sheldon.
Blake Shelton. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was sad that her character like died. I was like, oh damn it! I was really starting to like her, but I'm glad the actress got to stay on there and then try to shift performances. And I think she did pretty well the remaining episodes as pretty much the new lead villain.
Or
hear me out.
Well,
the new friend of Peacemaker, because Goff is alive. They're chilling.
True. I thought that was like how Goff survives. The body, she still dies, but then Goff at the end of the series. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite final scenes where he's just sitting out there with Eagly in the front porch, and then Goff, the butterfly, shows up and he's just hanging out with both of them.
You know what? Even better. So this is me being an action junkie. when he says sorry, boom. I was like, oh, he didn't shoot her in the head on purpose. I get it. He just killed the body. Single shot to the sternum. I thought he did 2, but it was 1. And I was like, the body's dead, but Goff can get out. And then he saw Goff get out and didn't fire. I said he wants Goff to live for whatever moral reason he chose. He felt the connection. Okay, James, this wasn't an accident. You allude me to believe that Peacemaker wanted Goff to live. And here's the evidence. If I were breaking down the scene as a famous YouTuber, which we're going to be, if people like us, that's what I would do. I'd freeze frame it and all that jazz.
We're going to break down this episode in 10 years. This is how we know we were going to be famous.
Because we talked about Peacemaker episode where Goff doesn't die by Peacemaker on purpose.
I did like their bond. I like how they bonded through a non-verbal way. Like, remember when Goff was in the jar and made the piece,
and we didn't know what it meant?
Yeah.
We're like, the audience is like, oh, shows intelligence. For the knock once for no, knock once.
Yeah.
1 for yes, 2 for no.
And Vigilante was asking stupid questions like, what's your favorite color? And he goes like, what are you going to list? Like, I'm going to start with teal. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And it's yes or no questions. So good. Vigilante was a good actor. Like everyone had their pieces. Everyone had their light.
I like Vigilante in the beginning where he finds out about Peacemaker. It's like working at like a sandwich shop or something.
Close to Denny's. It's like a Denny's.
Because I just found out my girlfriend. So he emails James Gunn writing, yeah, I just found out my girlfriend's pregnant. Oh, congrats. And we get an abortion. You can come with us. No, I don't want to.
It's like, bro, I'm not coming to your.
I was like, this is stupid.
The most awkward. He found a way to force socially awkward people.
Even worse.
Even worse, and in roles that you wouldn't normally see them. Because I care about his Denny's role or his Lenny's, whatever the version of Denny's is in there, more than I care about his Vigilante role. He acted well there too. Shoney's type, yeah.
I was impressed with his hand-to-hand combat skills when he went to jail. When he he was like, let's all around the room start about.
Let's talk about like what the Black community has contributed to society.
I'll go first, and then like he beats the shit out of his henchman. It was insane. And then he sports it out. You're a bad father. I'm like, fuck.
And what's better is that he did it nonchalantly. It was just part of his thing. He wasn't struggling to piss them off. He wasn't struggling to fight.
He was very. I don't know what it was. He was very Deadpool-esque when they try to go to assassinate the politician. He's like, Peacemaker's like, I can't do it. He just goes, he's like, and
he's
even,
like, let me give me a shot. Can I try this for a second?
Yeah, even Agent Harcourt's like, he's like, his wife's down, kids down. He's just like, blasting them left and right.
Because it shows the character has no. Is it empathy for those he's killing? There's a disconnect. Like it doesn't matter. He's like, I get it, but some people need to die, and here's why. And they talk about his psychology all throughout the TV show. It's well done, man.
Sociopath levels to like the max. And
yes,
like he would make
the character.
He was even frustrated with Peacemaker because he was starting to like second guess like his killings and all that. He goes like, "What, man? Back in the day, you and I used to just kill people, no problem. Most of them bad people, and the ones that weren't, we were like, oh well, and then you just move on."
Yeah, yeah. That line just it's so good. Audience is like, what?
I hated Judo Master. I did not like.
Let's talk about Judo Master.
Hated that dude, man. Like, just fucking blast him already. The best is when the economist hits him with a car and he's like, "Oh shit! Oh come on, man! Don't make me do this."
And he's still like crawling.
I was like, "Keep hitting him, man."
The reason I like Judo Master is because, first of all, when you think of a bodyguard, when you think of any stereotype for a martial artist in the show, Judo Master's like a small kid almost. eats flaming hot Cheetos and gives no F's, right? And the Ki, like it, I said, you're a breath of fresh air on this show because you weren't expected. If you read the comics, Judo Master is not like that at all, but who cares, right?
He's not? Okay.
No, Judo Master's not short, I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's Bane's dad.
Really?
Judo Master?
Yeah. In the comics. I could be 100% wrong, but there's no one named Kung Fu Master. I think during Bane's search for his father, wasn't Thomas Wayne, Batman helped him. He's like, you might be my brother. I might? Okay, cool. I'm not? Cool. Oh, it's Judo Master. If I'm wrong, the internet will destroy me. But I think we can just Google it. But yeah, Judo Master is nothing like it was in the comic. I was like, oh, this is okay. Every time he whooped some tail, it was funny. All the fight scenes of them are funny. What's my least favorite fight scene out of the three? None of them. But I can see why he can be annoying, but he's different. You don't know. He knows why the butterflies are helping the world. He's like, you don't know what it is. You see when he's crying when they're all slaughtered because he wanted to bring peace to the world. Pretty good character. I can see why you dislike him, though. I can. Don't worry. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
He played his role as...
was when John Cena's like rematch. He's a bag of Cheetos like floating across the parking lot. And then
did y'all catch that, by the way? That spin?
Yeah. And then he's about to kick his ass and Leota like shoots him.
Abadeo shoots him.
He's like, no, I was doing the whole hero thing to come back.
Yeah. And I think he shot him. But yeah, he was annoying. He reminded me of the dude from Kick-Ass, man, honestly, when I first saw him.
That's the second time we brought up Millar World. We might do an episode on one of those shows.
Pretty much the person that just doesn't die. Like, yeah. Like, yeah, that was a run-on joke. It was an effective run-on joke. I did like it that it was hardcore. That like almost like kicked his ass. Like in
both of them, hardcore and
yeah,
Adebayo.
Adebayo. Yeah,
Adebayo.
she had to taser him, but you know,
it works.
I thought, but one of the best things is like it was a really good cast. I mean, we know like Harker was a good character. Abadeo as like Amanda Waller's daughter. I think that brought some weight to the plot.
Oh yeah.
Like we're not going to have Amanda Waller in the show, but
have her daughter,
have her conflicted daughter in there. That really
was a better idea, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I was like, "There's no way they can afford Viola Davis for 8 episodes," but she made an appearance in the first episode on the computer screen. I was like, oh, "Okay, cool."
Good
first episode, and also in like the last episode.
What's up?
Just for a quick sec.
Gonk is here. So Adebayo was in the screen in the first episode, then the FaceTime on the phone. So that was number 2. Then the last episode. I think it was 3 times. The rest was text messages.
When I think she was honestly my second favorite character. I liked Vigilante the best.
Good.
Yeah.
I like that vibe. But yo, she's showing on her iPad photos. And she's like, "Oh, sorry, that's my girlfriend."
They're like, "Whoa!" It was basically the show did jokes I didn't think they were going to do, and I'm glad they did. I'm glad they had the rating they did to impact us like that, right? I'm like, it's on HBO Max. I'm not expecting anything Marvel, unless it's Deadpool. It's the closest thing we have. And it was what I wanted. I wanted different stuff than the regular DC. I wanted more Suicide Squad style comedy. That's what I got.
It's DC in its own flavor. You know what I mean? I think James Gunn did a good job, differentiating what he does for Marvel as opposed to what he does for DC.
Yep. But the Suicide Squad is not Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2.
No, but it's really its own thing in a much like hardcore level.
And who's he cool with that he gets all this creative freedom that Zack Snyder couldn't get? What's going on in WB?
I know. Come on, WB. What's happening? And WB, listen.
No, hold on. It's because at that time WB because they got James Gunn after he got fired from Disney.
They did.
So WB probably wanted to, like, take advantage of the situation and then, like, get him. And the only way
shove
you're
it
gonna
in
get him
Marvel's
is
face, Disney's
shove it-
face.
Yeah. But now everyone wins because he's doing that in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 now.
Oh, Disney
I
kind of
think they-
backpedaled.
The one they gave him they gave him creative freedom. They let him choose a movie because I think they wanted him to do a Superman movie, but James Gunn went like, no, I want to do a Suicide movie.
Squad.
And I guess they also knew, well, we had nothing to lose because we butchered like Suicide
They
Squad.
Butchered it.
But not David Ayers.
Not David Ayers. The Suits butchered
the
Suicide
Suits
Squad.
Butchered.
We'll say that for the cheap seats.
Hold on.
David Ayers did not butcher Suicide Squad. The Suits did, in my opinion.
Well, that's debatable. Hold on a second. Fox says speaks for best live action superhero except Loki, maybe.
Okay,
Well,
Doc,
wait till Moon Knight comes out. Can't wait for season 2. Pack, you got the Peacemaker. Yeah, I have it right here. DC Multiverse Peacemaker. I gave him a gun since he only comes with a sword. And then this is why I laughed.
yeah, he only comes with a sword. Why?
He said, "Holy smokes, Pack, that's a serious." Yeah, man, I'm only rocking it for a few days. I'm just gonna shave it off. Thanks for joining us. But, no, the Suits did not ruin Suicide Squad. It was already.
They didn't?
No, it was already bad movie. Come on.
Well, we don't know that.
We don't know. I have no proof.
The
We
reason
know.
why apparently
There's no director's cut released, right?
Some of the biggest things is that the Suits like ruined the tone of it because David Ayers didn't have any plan for using pop music in the background or anything
Nope.
like that.
Okay.
And then the Suits came in, well, like, yeah, but did you see Guardians of the Galaxy? So
Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Maybe hold on. Maybe that's why they gave James Gunn
No.
gave him freedom. They went like, so we'll just get James Gunn. We wanted the first Suicide Squad movie to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. Now we got James Gunn. Let's let him do what he wants.
That's probably what happened. Yeah. All right.
Or hear me out. Now that I think about it, yes. I just wanted to argue, but no, because I remember the original teaser at San Diego was a dark tone, and Jared Leto's like, I'm going to be really bad. And then it went from that to some like do and like Harley Quinn like shoot. Yeah, they went very comical for the next trailer.
Yeah.
Like, oh look, it did well. It's did well.
If they kept it dark, I think it'd have been better.
I think it would have too, but and gotta love the violence and swearing. Hope Deadpool 3 like that. Well, I mean, Disney said they're going to keep it rated R. We'll see. But
could you imagine if it went G-rated or something? Like what?
It could work just really stupidly. And oh, look who's there, Triple C.
Triple C.
Oh, it's not Tom Selleck, special guest.
I'd be down. I'd be down for Tom Selleck to show up.
I wish I had Tom Selleck's money, dude. Magnum PI. There'd be more figures and posters around me here.
Mm-hmm.
No, but okay. So the thing I didn't like about, I want to go drift off. The thing I didn't like about the Suicide Squad, the first one, just didn't like. Is it Deadshot?
Deadshot.
Yeah, I just didn't. You can tell which lines were Will Smith lines because it's like we're like Suicide Squad. Oh my god! He said the name of the movie in the trailer. Who does that?
We're the Patsies. We're a Suicide Squad. I remember that. Yeah, that was like when I go, oh hi, cat.
That's like cat joins screen.
Corny at the end with like Jay Hernandez turned into the fire monster thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And anyways, this one was better. Long story short, James Gunn saved it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that James Gunn is pretty much like rebooted this like Suicide Squad franchise, and I'm curious to see what it'll do in season 2, and then what it'll do for
the Suicide Squad again. The Suicide Squad 2.
What is this? Really?
They're doing a second season of Peacemaker, and the way it ends, it might be a bit weird because Abadeo, since she's got so mad at her mother, Amanda Waller, she actually exposed the Suicide Squad program. So that's out in the open.
They're doing season. Is it James Gunn on board to do season 2? Like, does he have to sit somebody board and like?
He's gonna write. I heard he's gonna write and direct all episodes, just like
it's gonna be good.
This season he wrote pretty much all the episodes and directed all but 2. But still, I really hope he sticks to it. I hope this doesn't become an Aaron Sorkin West Wing situation where Aaron Sorkin only wrote the first couple seasons and left, or Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who wrote the first scene of Killing Eve, amazing, and then she wasn't as involved in this show started.
We're bringing in Michael Bay to write the rest of the series. C says, you didn't like Deadshot? I actually dug the costume they did, really good. I didn't say the costume was bad, I just didn't like the acting, dude.
Here's what I liked about Deadshot. I'll be honest. Here's what I liked, right? What they did was give Will Smith a Deadshot suit that looked good, but the 2 scenes I like, besides the y'all jokers must be crazy. Of course, I like that scene, but the scene where the scenes with his daughter were fun.
Yeah.
And the scene where remember he didn't get paid. He's like, "Hey, I don't see any money in this account." And the ricochet shot. Those scenes were good. Daughter scenes. Batman fight scene where she asked him not to fight, and the one out of the costume scene. But that was basically Will Smith with guns.
You talking about?
I'm a Deadshot fan.
Always in front of like the police officers, and he started like, yeah, that was cool when he was shooting the kids and shit. That was good.
Oh, on top of the roof where he's like, "I'm not going to kill this guy without this money." Remember? And in the ricochet shot, the little placement, boom. It wasn't Deadshot from the comics, and that's okay. I wasn't expecting that.
And there's Chris said, so you guys talking about Peacemaker?
DC
and
Comics
Peacemaker's name is also Chris, so that's
true.
But I mean,
his real name.
I understand those points, fun guy, but I like the Deadshot the costume and the movie rendition. Different strokes for different folks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so this is something interesting because I think originally in the Suicide Squad they wanted Deadshot in it. So
they did
and I think Idris Elba was close to being Deadshot, so they're going to recast Deadshot.
They were about to. Yeah.
Which let's admit, and I love Bloodsport, but let's admit there were a lot of similarities. With like the thing with his daughter and the fact that he's very good with guns and all that. But I think they wanted to do a different character because they do want to bring Will Smith back in some capacity
as Deadshot. Yeah.
But I couldn't help but think with James Gunn's direction and how good would have Will Smith been in the Suicide Squad?
Ooh,
I don't know the answer.
That's why I'd give it a watch. Like, okay, if James Gunn was given some of those high-profile actors from the first movie, I would give it a second shot because I feel like he would have redeemed those characters.
Yeah,
even Jared Leto's Joker,
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I agree. Despite all the complaints I've made, I wouldn't be against Jared Leto coming back as Joker if we get James Gunn or someone like James Gunn back, or maybe we're supposed to see what David Ayer had in mind.
Oh, the original David Ayer cut, released David Ayer cut,
yeah.
Or Zack Snyder's cut. Peacemaker. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. Because
it's Peacemaker, the level of comedy they did, the brow of comedy. I get it was more like watching. Give me some example movies. The type of comedy in Peacemaker, if you never watched The Suicide Squad, you can compare it to movies of its comedy type, and there's plenty, right? Don't ask me, ask James Gunn. Like, what type of comedy were you going for? What audience? When you did the references to these musics, what age did you want them to be, right? If he knows, I don't know. But I'm going to finish the Podly podcast, the official podcast of Peacemaker. I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm glad you gave him a gun. I'm so glad you gave him a gun.
Yeah.
Just having a knife didn't make any sense. So why'd they ship it with a knife?
Because DC's mandate, they don't allow guns anymore. So, like, you have Eagly on their symbol. It's WB's mandate.
But the swords the sword's interesting in the Suicide Squad. I kind of wish he had it in. I kind of wish he had it in Peacemaker, the Peacemaker show, because at the end of the episode, he was using a Peacemaker shield. Not at the level of Captain America, obviously, but he had a Peacemaker shield, and he was he was rocking it pretty well.
I'm trying not to laugh at WB's DC's mandate.
It's dumb.
I'm gonna go on record because DC's not gonna sponsor me, right? I'm gonna say that's dumb as. You have violent characters that know to use guns, and a knife is less violent because it doesn't shoot projectiles. I'd argue that.
Well, the way he uses that sword.
One guy's perspective doesn't reflect the perspectives of his channel. I love what WB's doing. Please, McFarlane, send me some figures because I'm actually giving your figures.
I hope there's a better figure out there.
He said, I think Squad was pretty great.
It's pretty great. It was good.
I know. I like this series. It was one, like I said, not that I didn't have high hopes for it. It's just I didn't. My expectations were just kind of like level. And first 2 episodes kind of like, and then it starts to pick up. I do like his dad's house, how he's got that secret. He explained it to Vigilante. I'm trying to remember. What did he say? Like it expands out or it's like a different portal or what did he say again?
It's like a multi-dimensional thing or something.
It's a sub-dimension.
That's what it was. Like
how his dad got that science and made it, I want to know. I want to know how that was made.
The different helmets tripped me out. Like the X-ray one was the best scene I've ever seen. I was watching it and I'm like, oh, I swear I was watching when she talked to the front desk lady. I was like, something's gonna happen here. Something's gonna go off. You just see a gunshot. He shoots the construction workers.
That was actually one of my favorite action sequences. And then at the end, there's a gorilla, and then
I thought that was Grodd for a second. Is that Gorilla Grodd? It's like, no, they wouldn't.
I was thinking that too. I thought maybe they were going to do something of like this is how Gorilla Grodd comes to be because of some sort of mutation. But for I guess hopefully for another show. And it's funny how Economist shows up in the end, and he's like, "What the fucking chainsaw?"
I killed a gorilla with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just that he milks that for the rest of the episode. I killed a gorilla. I saved the day.
He did. He actually saved the day that day.
Like how Vigilante took offense to it. He's like, I wonder if he was trying to get under my skin because I wanted to use a chainsaw. He used a chainsaw. You gotta love the writing, man.
The writing was so good on that. He's like, hey, remember that was my idea.
I'll give it another chance. Maybe it's just a popcorn muncher. I'm just looking forward to Batman as the next DC thing I want to see. Yeah, man. It's supposed to be detective based.
Yes, the Batman's supposed to be detective based, not action based. I hope it is. I'm ready for that.
See Triple C's comment.
I like
every serial killer.
Triple C, thank you. I go, the gun is more violent than the knife because it shoots.
Speaking of knives in DC, that's what Heath Ledger's Joker said. It's better to kill someone with a knife. You don't get those little details that you get. Same as a gun.
He also used a pencil. He used a pencil.
Yeah, made it disappear too. He did magic and murder.
They should make a Joker toy with just pencils.
He killed
John Wick and Joker.
He killed Spawn's henchman, dude.
He did. Michael J. White.
Michael J. White.
Was Spawn. He was Spawn.
He Spawn. But back to Pacemaker or Peacekeeper.
Well,
Pacemaker.
I think it's interesting how some say they couldn't get into it. I'm trying to figure out what the penultimate. I mean, I liked it throughout, but I'm trying to figure out. There's always, in most shows, there's always that episode where it's supposed to make you feel like, or do you like it or not like it?
Mm-hmm.
I would say
episode 6 was my favorite. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily that episode, but episode 6 was probably the episode that, for me, solidified that this was probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
All time, really?
Like if I were to have a top 5, I might have put Peacemaker up there. But this is based on like first season. Like, there's the first season of The Wire. There's first season of Mad Men. There's first season of Haikyuu. and then there's
Nice.
Peacemaker. So
Side note, I don't
This is
skip
me
this
just
anime's
randomly-
intro. Side note, this anime's intro, I don't skip it. Fist of the North Star. That's one of the main bad guys from there on the horse. Wow, King of Fist. His horse, Black King. I don't skip that intro. Late 70s anime, 79, I think it started. The manga's older than that. Another episode. We'll do
Look,
anime and manga.
anime intros are the best. This is one of the first live action intros where I like never skipped. So
I just can't.
it's fun.
You don't want to see Eagly?
Do you really want to? It's just hard for me to take John Cena. Like, okay, here's what I thought when I
Don't
first
take him seriously.
No. It's hard for me. Well, it's hard for me not to see the freaking wrestler in it. But here's what I saw initially.
I never watched wrestling, so yeah.
When I first saw it, I'm like, fuck, it's gonna make me want to do a stop motion of them doing dance. But I was like, nope, skip it. So I don't have to do this. Skip it. Because I could easily do that with John Cena. Just I don't want to do it. But I didn't like seeing him in his underwear dancing after he slept with that 80s looking chick.
That was funny. That was hilarious. Then he takes out the vibrator and he's like singing. Oh,
I'm so glad The Rock Johnson never did this type of stuff. He only did two.
The Rock went first. He went PG-13, right? No, PG-13 with the rundown. He did Tooth Fairy. Then he did Disney way later.
I will say this though, it's as of right now, I would put John Cena because I always do special rankings for wrestlers turned actors. You got Batista, notably now, not like Hulk Hogan in Suburban Commando. I'm talking about
It actually came out.
I'm talking about Hulk, Batista, Rock, and John Cena. I would still put Batista one. And I think John Cena and Rock are kind of right there now because we have to see what Rock does with Black Adam. But I think John Cena's killed this one.
It's going to be good.
He
I
made
think Black Adam's going to be good.
I think for me, it's about style. So John Cena's the best at humor. He's probably the funniest out of all of them. And,
I agree.
Those three.
And Peacemaker shows that he's good at the dark humor.
And if you haven't seen Blockers yet, I highly recommend it.
Oh, but he was hilarious.
I'll check it. I should watch it.
He was also my favorite part in a Trainwreck, even though he wasn't in it for a long time. But he was hilarious in a Trainwreck with Amy Schumer.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Then there was Chris says, "Well, knife is more personal. You get up close and you feel the cuts, and it gives you a better sense of accomplishment." But I don't know anything about that. Neither do I.
He does not. He knows nothing about that at all.
I don't have any knives here, so we're good.
Back to the Rock and Peacemaker.
Yeah, about that. Right.
Well, so this is funny since Peacemaker is part of the DCEU, so is The Rock's Black Adam. Maybe there'll be a crossover.
That would be funny.
I did like all the references to the other DC characters. We mentioned how he says the Flash is a D-bag. I like how he has it out for Aquaman. Saying
he said Superman's got a fetish. What is it? Superman's got a so-and-so fetish.
It was yeah.
Was it poop?
It's when he gets mad at economists for framing his dad, stealing his car. He could have named anybody.
He was making a whole list of characters, even Ariana Grande and all that. I forgot what he said about Superman. I did remember being slightly grossed out, but
I thought it was poop.
But it was funny because he goes "You believe? Yeah, I read it on the internet."
Literally, guys, peace. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it.
What else was? But it's funny how. This is a major spoiler, but it's funny
spoiler
how
warning.
Close to the end of the last episode, the Justice League does show up.
They do.
You don't see Superman's face. You don't
or
see
Wonder Woman's
face or Wonder Woman, but you do see Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller, and
so good.
And then Peacemaker goes, "You guys are too fucking late, all right?" And he goes and he tells Aquaman to go fuck some fish again, and then Jason Momoa with a straight face goes
I'm so tired of that fucking rumor.
I'm tired of that rumor. And then
He
Ezra
curses.
Miller
He
was
said, I'm
like,
so tired of that fucking rumor. And
Ezra
they're
Miller
like,
was
yeah,
like,
you go.
that's a rumor.
No, he said, that's not a rumor. And he goes,
that's not a rumor.
Barry. And he just starts laughing because that's not a rumor. It was
funny,
so
I
good.
feel like-
So good.
I feel like if James Gunn was given that talent, I think they would have fun on the sets, like much so like Hemsworth and them have fun with Taika Waititi on Thor. Like I bet you, like nothing against James. It's James Wan that does Aquaman, right? The one that's done those movies.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. But that'd be
Aquaman's
funny to
solid.
see.
Aquaman was solid, yeah.
It'd be funny to see James Gunn take a violent approach to Aquaman.
It would be a different movie.
Right.
It'd be great, but it'd be different.
Fun, I think, yeah.
I think a balance of like being aware of the jokes that are made about Aquaman, but finding some sincerity to it too. I mean, James Gunn's very good at balancing both those.
And giving equal time to all the characters in the show. Like there's a handful of characters, but you do care about certain ones. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Can we? Actually, well, one thing I'll mention before I mention other characters. I also like the shout out to Kite Man. Did you guys?
Yeah.
He talked about it. I was like, Kite Man from the Harley Quinn animated show. Makes me want to play. Oh, please! Hopefully the second season. Even though he defeated him, I hope they do a flashback or something. I want to see a live action version of Kite Man, especially coming from James Gunn. I would be really, great. It doesn't have to be exactly like how Kite Man was in the Harley Quinn animated show.
No, it's a whole different universe.
But I really want him to bring like Kite Man or Condiment Man or whoever. Or
Condiment Man's my favorite.
Yeah. That'd be, but
no one beats Condiment Man.
But as far as superhero, supervillain characters, I think Myrn was also one of my favorites.
Myrn did. Adebayo and Myrn did friggin' great.
I mean, I thought
levels.
When I found out he was one of those butterflies, I thought he was going to kill Adebayo. I was like, oh, this is it, man. He's going to kill him.
But instead, they do something better where he finds out,
she's like, she knows? Yeah, she knows.
Yeah.
His face didn't blow off when the thing went out.
Yeah. But I like that scene where he goes like, yes, I took over this guy's body because I needed a body and I pretty much took one of the worst people ever. And
he was actually a bad person.
Look in his face.
Yeah, he's like, I still have his memories when I wake up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like
understand the memory of the character they're taking. They keep the memory oh, yeah. So
sad that they had to kill him too, but but he put in a good performance while he did.
Yeah, he did.
Wouldn't be James Gunn if he didn't kill off characters. Yondu.
He said Yondu.
Yeah, I said Yondu.
Well, I mean, in the Suicide Squad, he killed off half the team in the first
that was
10 minutes.
You know who survived though? Weasel survived. All right. Best character in the movie, Weasel.
So
there was a reference to Weasel in one of the episodes. Really? They were like, I'd rather be partnered with Harley Quinn or Weasel or something like that.
Yes,
telling you, man, Weasel.
That. Yeah.
Underestimated.
Oh, Sean Gunn, Weasel.
Weasel, the best.
So maybe this is a good question to ask because there is. I don't think it's a rumor. I think they said they're doing. So we already know there's a Peacemaker season. Going to be a Peacemaker season, but they also said there's supposed to be another The Suicide Squad spinoff.
Ooh, good.
So movie of an actual Suicide Squad.
I don't know if they said if it's going to be a movie or a TV series, but it's another spinoff. So what are we thinking? Weasel?
You guys go first because you're going to be surprised what I say.
Storyline?
Yeah.
Weasel's still on the island.
It's gonna be a silent death. No, it's gonna be Weasel and Shark, the two nonverbal characters from the Suicide Squad. It's gonna be them two. They'll do visual cues to communicate, or we'll get subtitles, and it's gonna be amazing.
I want Weasel and Shark to be main characters in the next film.
King Shark, I forgot.
King Shark and Weasel, that'd be so good.
Okay, you ready for mine?
Yeah.
It's none of those. It's the one that actually died. We're going to talk about Nathan Fillion's TDK, the detachable kid.
Ooh.
Peacemaker show.
The human action figure? The 80s action
You know
figure?
what?
So stupid.
I'm not against that. I am actually not against it. One, because you got Nathan Fillion, and two, if it's James Gunn that's involved, I'm willing to watch it.
Detachable kid.
Watching that in the scene. What is he doing? He's like, oh my god, it's doing Harley Quinn's going through the characters.
Yeah.
It's TJ, the detachable kid. And he gets all his parts shot off.
Well, yeah, you think it's going to be like epic, all right, and it's like,
if it is another one I could think of, yeah, I think Weasel probably would be a good one. Give his
what about
Bird.
What about Ratcatcher? Ratcatcher 2.
Oh, Ratcatcher's amazing. Star of the show. Star of the movie.
I really wanted Bloodsport to be in this show, to be honest with you.
Did you?
Like, they can't afford Idris Elba.
They created what they did to make a movie. Bloodsport was great. If you watch the background of Bloodsport in the actual comics, I'm like, okay, making a movie. Yeah, I can dig it. I see why you replaced him over Deadshot in case people wanted Deadshot Will Smith back. Idris
Elba is the king of TV, though. Like The Wire.
Killing it.
There's also Luther.
I need to watch Luther, don't I? Lupin and Luther I need to watch.
Luther's really good. And then when he showed up in the American Office, he almost stole the show. Like, I think by now he's too expensive, but a Bloodsport TV show,
I would watch that.
I wouldn't complain either.
I would watch that.
When I was watching the show and I was seeing Peacemaker get beat up, I'm like, man, where's the dude that was like shooting dudes with Bloodsport, like not even looking? I was like, where's that? Just bring that dude out.
Oh yeah, I guess he had a mental. That's why, because he had a change of heart and character because of the coma in prison. So him not becoming that guy would made sense, because I was like, wait a minute. Oh, I see.
He's still like recuperating too from having been in the hospital for that long.
It makes perfect sense to why.
But good thing he had Eagly.
Oh my gosh, he gave me a hug.
Eagly kicked ass too.
He made a bio drink like the poop water, it's whatever Eagly was like making, like in the bathroom, and John Cena was drinking it, and she was so.
One thing I want to.
Oh, good.
No, you go.
A painful scene for me was when he was jumping out of the victim's balcony, like the two hostages, and he just kept landing in the wrong spots. I'm like, Jesus, dude, the ribs.
Bro, his knees, his ribs, his knees. I hope his suit has some kind of super special DC Comics absorption, which it doesn't.
Does he have that? Because I don't. Does he have any type of like super? He's just yoked, right? There's no super anything about him, right?
Not in the show.
That's crazy. This dude should have been.
So his ankles were done. I'm like, how are you? This is comedic purposes, but
I thought for some reason his dad somehow enhanced him and his brother. I assumed that might. They didn't really go into detail about it, but I assumed that has to be it, because he killed his brother with like one punch to the face, and something has to be done. It has to be some sort of like supernatural event.
Yeah, because they weren't trained at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't trained, as far as I know. There's no proof they have the training to do any dim mak or special martial arts technique to kill him. So, or movie martial arts technique knows to the brain, which isn't real, et cetera, et cetter.
But there must be some sort of like juiced up thing involved, because they were pretty much fighting because I'm gonna say the Hicks were pretty much a dog fight with kids like fighting each other, and then they were Hicks were putting bets on who would win, and then
are they test tube or did they have a mind?
Chris won. I'll probably have to rewatch it. I don't recall him saying that. I mean, it's good there's a season 2, because
maybe they go into detail.
Even though his dad is dead, like even though he like killed his dad, the trauma he had with him, it's still gonna haunt him. So So that's
like
something I like them see them do in season 2 is kind of like a lot of flashbacks, but also really get to know more about his origins and kind of like revisit some of the horrible things his father's done.
Sorry, I'm going to laugh. I'm just thinking about the VHS or the box cover of when he was a kid. Do you remember I was carrying it around? Was it a DVD or what was it? The thing I was carrying around, like her mom's like, you have that.
The journal?
Oh, the journal, yeah.
The diary?
Yeah.
Diary. It wasn't a journal. He's like, if I wouldn't have a diary, I'd have a journal if I had something. Yeah,
yeah, he goes like, does that diary look like mine? And, you know, it looks like it fell out of my vagina.
He's not a sensitive guy, is he? He is.
No,
he's out of.
I did like the chemistry between him and.
I wish that.
I wish to help with.
Yeah, man.
The toy helmet.
Yeah, it's.
So we're talking about the figure. Oh, okay, I thought we're talking about the actual.
Just a fun nerd toy fact. You know how, like in the 80s and 90s, there used to be like the shiny, or even early 2000s, like a shiny finish to toys.
Yeah,
it's called vac metal, and for environmental reasons, they don't do that anymore. So that's why you don't see silver as shiny as it used to be.
It could be aluminum foil ball. Those are shiny, right?
I remember my Power Ranger toys were shiny. So that
like exactly like that. They don't do that type of. I wish they did.
Cool.
Here for the environment.
Yeah.
Actually,
okay.
Well, there's something I want to bring up since we're talking about how like Peacemaker is cringeworthy. You definitely say things that's not very PC at all.
On purpose. Yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
But I think he's good. He had chemistry with Adebayo's character, where they're both like learning. Well, he's probably learning from her mostly, but she's learning. But I thought that was like good
environment ruining everything.
And,
yeah.
I hope she comes. I hope she comes back in season 2.
I hope she does too.
Yeah.
Straws made of paper. Yeah, no.
Was that
was
Mitt Romney talking to us?
Straws made of paper.
Binders full of them.
I was.
No, I when I was watching the show, like I kept thinking, I was like, who would win in a fight? I was like, Peacemaker, and I was trying to find a formidable opponent for him.
We can do a versus match video. I'm ready.
Batman.
You know I'm ready.
Come on, man.
I kind of want to see him. I think he'd lose against Batman, but it would be interesting to fight against Batfleck, specifically Batfleck. Like I'm talking CrossFit training, Batfleck. I want to see him and Peacemaker go at it.
The people watching this right now are the replay. The only reason why he wants to see this is he wants to see a Boston beatdown of the Boston Bros. Yo, I'm Boston Red Sox. No, I'm Boston Red Sox.
Yo, I'm from Gotham.
Right, yeah, I'm John Cena.
Gotham.
You're
actually both from Boston? What, really?
Oh, yeah, John Cena.
Peacemaker versus Deadshot. So movie Deadshot versus movie Peacemaker?
I don't know.
Are they suited up? Are they suited up completely?
I don't know, because we saw Peacemaker versus Bloodsport, which was really
that
cool.
was the best scene. What happened to all our men? Oh, they got killed. Again, James Gunn. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, talk about the darkest.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, where'd they all go? We kind of.
God damn it! I got that song stuck in my head. Do you
really want to take? They wanted to. James and the crew knew.
Yo,
how about
the title of the episodes? There was a Chodeless Traveled. The Chodeless. Gosh, I wish I could tell you all the joke. Oh, screw it. Here is a fun fact. We originally wanted to name the podcast. What was it? The Pro and the Chode. So when I saw that title, I was like, oh my God, they actually put Chode in there.
They actually did it. They actually did it.
The title of these episodes, man.
It's crazy. Crazy good. For the comedy they're going for, perfect.
Yeah, so Bloodsport's better than Deadshot.
Ooh, for accuracy? Or as a character?
I think
Are we doing the movies? The Idris Elba's Deadshot is a better.
He said DCEU only. We're gonna have to.
Ooh, I gotta do my
prefer-
homework on that. Who's more
Matchmaker.
accurate, Bloodshot, Peacemaker, or Deadshot if they're out of their suits to shooting? It's a good question.
Probably
Or throwing
Deadshot.
knives. I would say, we had made another episode. Right now, I'm gonna vote for Deadshot being the most accurate, but I haven't seen. There's not enough evidence for Deadshot to be more accurate than Bloodshot.
But
Bloodsport.
does Bloodsport
Peacemaker.
have? It's not just like projectiles. It looks like he was pretty accurate with give him a knife too, because he almost killed Amanda Waller.
True. And
They
he
all
did.
can use knives. They all can use knives. I
Oh,
think
okay.
I think Deadshot with guns is better from what we've seen, but I don't have enough proof. I think they all might be the same level. Hand to hand, I'm going to say, actually, you don't get to see Deadshot hand to hand. It's not fair. Look at me. Look at me.
What about Vigilante versus Joe Magliano's? What's his name? Deathstroke.
The Vigilante is as good as all of them.
He's pretty
We
good,
don't-
man.
You see him throw that knife just being shot. It's like, oh, dead.
I'm hoping
And Peacemaker
Vigilante.
like,
I want
through a knife and
Vigilante
kill
to
somebody?
be made from McFarlane Toys. I want a Vigilante figure, honestly.
I
should do
I really hope they make figures based on that TV show. Like, I was almost gonna get a Peacemaker action figure, but I want them to find one. I hope they come out with for the show, so it comes with Eagly or something.
yeah.
Good idea.
Or I want a statue of Eagly. One of the most iconic scenes. I feel like there's nothing more. There's almost nothing more American than an American eagle, American bald eagle, going at Ku Klux Klan members and killing them right out straight up the hood,
That
just
all
picking
happens.
right off them. Yes,
So
probably one of the most American scenes I've seen. Yes, stick it to them.
Yeah, different versions of America. Did you guys? I know we're going over time, but there's so many. We may have to do a second episode on this. There's so much.
Second season.
We'll do a
There's
second
so
episode
much.
of the second season.
Yeah, there's so much.
And that is a good segue. Unless we have any other final thoughts on the man that you can't see, John Cena's peacekeeper.
He explained why he does this too. That's the John Cena episode, not right now.
I honestly was impressed because, like I said, I wasn't the biggest Cena fan growing up. He beat a lot of my favorite wrestlers.
Do you need an attitude adjustment?
Come on, man. It was originally called the FU until
WWE. It was originally called the FU. You're 100%.
And I give him props, man. He's good at growing his hair back. He was going bald in WWE. So it's working.
He's got money. He's got money. Whatever he did, he's got money.
Yeah, he impressed me. I hate to admit it anymore. I loved him in Blockers and liked him in Suicide Squad. And he actually held his own for this. So.
If John Cena sees this, he hears you. If someone he knows sees this, he hears you.
John Cena. But yeah,
those memes never get old to me. They should. They don't.
I like this theme though of having these off these side, not the main characters, having have their own series, because then you really give them a chance to develop the character into their own. You know what I mean?
And also because there's not maybe much about him, you can create so much more. The whole thing he did with his dad being the Great White Dragon, that wasn't necessarily comic accurate, but he went you could bring these two characters together. The reason why Peacemaker is the way he is because he had such a racist father. And he was pretty much he was a superhero version of a KKK Grand Wizard, which was really scary actually when he went into that White Dragon suit, and he pretty much see the suit as pretty much Iron Man capability. I was this is scary as fuck. So really, it's really cool seeing Eagly doing his American due diligence and killing KKK members with its beak.
I mean, that room though, that tech, and they're acting like it's common. It is common in the DC universe to have tech like that, or Marvel, or any other comic universe. So
it was cool, but also scary. Man, freaking White Klansman has this technology. That's scary. Man.
But in DC, it'd be somewhat expected, right? On that planet, if you have flying aliens and guys oh well,
yeah. But I'm glad that DC has that edge to really explore that dark territory. Because even
it comes with having a TV show series as opposed to a movie. You get less suits working on the day-to-day
to mess stuff up. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good.
And you have more time. You have less suits can control less harder to control by the suits. They have to read the whole script, get someone to read it to them if they don't want to read it, and then they have to. Yeah, it's easier to nitpick a movie and to cut a movie up than it is a TV series. Also, you have more room to explain, like you guys said, to expand. Love it.
With high standards for Guardians 3, man, because that's his next project, I think. Right after all this,
is it?
Yeah, they're filming it right now and stuff. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, folks, gents, anything else before we sign off here for the night? Before it turns,
I got too much.
Too much.
I got too much. We covered a lot of ground.
Well, me and Albie will sign off. It will be a one-man show with a fun guys. Take it away for the next 4 hours, my friend.
Oh Lord, you're gonna see me do this.
I'm too sexy for my shit. Too sexy for my shit.
More like too sexy for his thumbs.
Oh, thumbs.
Oh, my thumbs.
All right, dude. All right, we're gonna go and sign out. From your host, Carson Daly, Albie, and a fun guy. Good night, folks. Frank Caliendo was never funny. Thought I'd forget. See y'all in season 2.